the conversation continues. The shaman says, "Yeah, that's about it. So I think we have a complex of reasons for the retardation. It starts in the original colony of life ships, and it is not corrected by the freezers because the majority, the majority culture is already set. Perhaps the lowered density of population also has something to do with it. Lowered density of population also has something to do with it. As you know, only so many people can survive on a square mile of land by hunting and gathering until raising population forces them to change. They take the easy way out, and that's what you have here on Outworld. I'm starting to think we're on Outworld, actually. Anyway, enjoy it. It will not endure forever. The journey continues. I turn the page. When you read from a real book, it is different from reading from a digital book. You have to turn the page, and it involves looking at the page, holding the book. Something has been forgotten. Yeah. You know what I said? When I learned I had been an apprentice to you, Flint inquired, mischievously, no doubt. What? That old fool? The shaman laughed with him. Right you are. But Flint was abruptly serious. No, I was the fool. You know so much. I can hardly comprehend. I can hardly comprehend it even when you tell it straight. But you're always right. When I finally figure all of it out, compared to you, I know how stupid I am. Never that, said the shaman. Ignorant? Yes. Stupid? No. There's another fundamental distinction for you. I chose you because you were by far the brightest and most talented child in the tribe. You have a peculiar, special, intense vitality. I saw real leadership potential in you, Flint, and I see it yet, stronger with every question you ask. You must work. You must learn. You must not be content with the others. For one day this tribe will be yours. But I am of no chief's son, Flint cried, flattered. The shaman seemed to have heard. You will have to lead your people out of the Paleolithic even, and into the Mesolithic, even the Neolithic, the new Stone Age. Progress is much faster here than it is on Earth because now the knowledge exists. I have been teaching you to read. The books are here, waiting to teach you more than I have ever been known to. You can accomplish in a generation what took millennia on Earth. Centuries from now, Outworld will be civilized. Flint let him ramble. Well, you gotta let old gits ramble, you know. He looked through the telescope again, locating Sirius, fainter now with the coming dawn. And then the special effort, the twin stars of Sol and Toliman. This was his last chance before Etamin blotted them out for the day. Strange to imagine that man had evolved on that far little planet circling that almost invisible star. Shaman, he exclaimed. Soul's gone? Shaman started, then relaxed. That would be an eclipse. One of our satellites. With 9 moons, these things happen. He paused. Let me see. That would be Joanne. She's the only moon in the Sirius constellation at this hour. I had forgotten. You need a memory bank, Flint said, smiling. If there was one thing that grew even longer and clearer with time, it was the old man's memory. I need a computer. I need a computer to figure out all the 9 orbits, the patterns of the occlusions, so unpredictable by the naked eye, especially on Earth. The only cultures not so far ahead of you had a computer, a marvelous device. It was made of stone, huge stones, each weighed many tons, set in a monstrous circle. It was called Stonehenge by the latter natives. And with that, they could accurately track the phases of the sun, Sol sun, I mean, and predict the eclipses by the Earth's moon, lunar. I call it lunar actually as well. I don't call the moon moon, I call it lunar because I'm an old git. It was a momentous moon, a monstrous moon. Sorry, forgive my terrible pronunciations. Oh dear. So, a moon covered up the sun? Flint asked incredulously. Well, it happened. Here, the moons are too small and distant. There, its disk appeared to be as large as that of Sol. The ancient astronomers went to extraordinary trouble to chart the cycles. Civilized ancients, said, what's his face? I've got Flint. Oh, God. Of course he's called Flint. Oh, man. Not the way you mean. It is true that there appears to have been a pattern of early artifacts on Earth, prehistoric yet vast. So vast that evidences of that primal civilization went virtually unnoticed for millennia. Hey, what life? I love you. Bless you. Forgive my terrible reading, but you know, I haven't really read much recently, so this is kind of a stress relief. It takes my mind off all the crap in the world. So, but I appreciate that you're here, man. Bless you. Where was I? Not the way you mean. It is true that there appears to have been a pattern of early artifacts on Earth, prehistoric yet vast. So vast that the evidences of that primal civilization went virtually unnoticed for millennia, and only recently have been appreciated for what they are. They. That is the way I mean, Flint said, growing excited because, I mean, when you're talking to a shaman, and there are many shamans, and they come in many forms as well. Here on Outworld, there are artifacts of ancients, things we can't understand. Why not the same as on Earth? The Earth, the Earth ancients said indulgently that alien ancients may date from 4 or 5 million years ago. There is no comparison. It's like the common error of putting cavemen and dinosaurs together. However, what life, and you know this as well, that they lived together at one point. They did. And there is a lot of proof of this. Because they are both prehistoric. When actually, uh, Flint burst out laughing. The shaman, I've got someone walking around over my head in the other apartment. It's really bad. Flint burst out laughing. The shaman seldom made jokes, but when he did, they were beauties. Cavemen and dinosaurs. I turn the page. There's always wonderful things to be found in books, if we care to look. Dinosaurs. It's an error to put them together. All right, the shaman sighed. I keep forgetting. Then he sat up. Startled Sol. Startled? Sol? Are you sure? Sol has been obscured. Sol? I see Toliman. An omen. Yes, an omen. Clear as the star itself. Flint put down the telescope. Do you really believe in such? Well, on Earth 30 years ago, I mean 230 years ago, no? I wasn't superstitious, but here on Outworld, in the old Stone Age, the people expected it from me. After a while, it became easier to accept. And I must admit, for those who follow omens, this is as clear as they come. Sol is going to change your life significantly and very soon. Take it from an old scientist who can convert it to a medicine doctor to survive among savages. You have been warned by the stars. No, Flint said. Sol is nothing to me, and I don't believe that rubbish. But he felt a premonitory, a premon. I can't pronounce this word. Premonitory. That's wrong. A premonitory chill. For despite his denials, he did believe. Flint, Flint, the child cried. The hunt, you must come. Flint stopped in the path, letting the lad come to him. It was a messenger runner. I am not involved in hunting anymore, you know? You know that. I'm the stone mason. He did not need to add. He did not need to add that. He was also apprenticed to the crazy shaman. 3 are dead, 5 bored, 2 trampled. We need help. 3 dead? That was supposed to be a routine morning hunt. What did they finish? What did they flush? Old Snort, the boy cried despairingly. Ah, no wonder. That dinosaur is best left alone. Anyone fool enough to tangle with him? Chief Strong Spear. Well, that explains it. But Flint was a nervous ground. For word of his insolence reached the chief. There could be unpleasant repercussions. Chief Strongspear's son is dying. Old Snort won't let them recover the dead. You must come. I told you, I no longer hum. But he wondered. The shaman had spoken of leadership, and now the chief's son was dying. The heir was stupid, like the father. Seriously, I'm not adding this. This is what this guy wrote. The heir is dying, and the son was stupid like the father. Trust me, this is actually written in the book. The only things that I add are tiny little words, like literally tiny little words. Like the father. Stupid like the father. But who would fill that office if the muscular chieftain died? In a year, the chief would be retired, and Sol had been eclipsed. Since Flint, since Flint had seen it happen, he had seen it happen. He was the one directly affected by the omen. Chief Strongspear says if you don't come now, he'll put a pus spell on Honeybloom. Watch out for that. The chief was fighting dirty. The very thought of such disfiguration on the prettiest girl in the tribe turned Flint's stomach. Oh, come, show the way, please. The boy showed the way, running swiftly ahead. These runners were agile and long-winded. They could keep pace better than any man, and Flint followed, pausing only to don his harness and secure his best. I don't know what a handex is, so don't even ask. You can't make this up. This guy read some really weird shit, trust me. They left the fruit palms and the oasis behind, as you do. You know when you're going to war? You leave all that lovely stuff. No, I don't want to leave it behind. Don't do this to me. I don't want war. I want peace. I do apologise, but seriously, come on. I mean, I read this. I mean, I literally read all the books, and they were fascinating. It takes a little while. It takes a while. So they left the oasis behind, hopped from hammock to hammock through the thornreed swamp. The village's chief even bulwarked against predatory dinosaurs and climbed nimbly up the trailing tentacles of a vine. At first, it was only a few inches in diameter, requiring careful balancing. But as they approached the vine's the center web, rather, it swelled to more than a yard across. That's a pretty big vine when you think about it. You got to be pretty big to hold on to a vine that size. I think you're going to need some stakes to go and haul yourself up, or at least shoes with little spiky bits. Out along the opposite tentacle they went, dropping to the firm ground beyond the swamp. They passed the bed of fragrant honey blooms, the big green and red flowers as pretty as they smelled, reminding him poignantly of their namesake, his woman. He said Honey Bloom would wed in midsummer. He would go to her tonight. And there you are. The beautiful sharing between man and woman. The boy slowed. An alien was squatting in the path. A Polarian. They drew up before the strange creature. It was a teardrop-shaped thing with a massive spherical wheel on the bottom and a limber tentacle or trunk at the top. When that tentacle reached straight up, it would be as high as Flint. And the body mass was similar to his. But the Polarian had no eyes, no ears, no nose, or other appendages. The shaman claimed they were similar to human beings because they liked similar gravity, breathed the same air, though they had no lungs, and had a similar body chemistry. Sorry, that's my rabbits rattling their house. I do apologise. Their brains were as... Oi! No, actually, it's one of my rabbits doing something to my other rabbit. Will you stop that? Stop it. Oi. That is Piker making love to Rompshia's face, and Rompshia lets him. So, oh dear. Right, I've forgotten where I was now. So, these are the things that are sent to make us laugh. You've got to laugh. Well, they're having a good time, you know, and I mean, they're rabbits. Come on. I've literally lost my place in the page. Ah, okay. The shaman claimed they were similar to humans. So we got past that bit. But Flint had promised himself to treat the next alien he met with special courtesy. He and the boy halted politely. Greetings, explorer, Flint said. The creature's body glowed with simulated pleasure. It put its stalk down to the ground. In this position, it looked more than ever like a dinosaur dropping. So like a poo, basically. A really big one. Flint stifled a laugh. A little ball in the tip of the trunk spun rapidly. Greetings, native, the ground said. Flint was not surprised. He had been familiar with the mechanisms from infancy. The little ball vibrated against the ground or any available surface. Oh no, stop it, rabbits. My rabbits are humping. I do apologise. Will you stop humping him? Stop humping him. You naughty boy. Right, this does answer the story somewhat, though. Come on. Humour is essential. It is essential. Stop humping. Piker. Right. Flint was saying, hey, Genevieve. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to read this story, and my rabbits are doing a humpy thing. Little boys, and they're young. And so one of them is very accommodating and just sits there while the other one does it in his face. I mean, you can't make this up. Kind of adds to the story. But this is actually not what I'm talking about. I'm all right. How are you? I'm sorry I haven't come up. I've seen when you've been live, but I can't usually come up because I'm so tired. So when I get a moment and I can just talk to someone, anyone. Yes, we rabbits in action. Their names are Piker and the Rompshire. Oh, good. Bless you. Oh. Anyway, we should hear what the shaman and Flint are talking about, because I mean this might take me a while. I feel you too, my darling. You know that we are all eternally connected, whether we like it or not. I strongly believe that. And I'm gonna come and look at, because you showed some of your beautiful, really cold landscape, so I need to come and look at that. Ah, merci beaucoup. Yes, thank you so much. But it's also funny, this story, because I mean it is really about yes, indeed. Um, Pierce Anthony, not Pierce Morgan. Don't even go there. It's Pierce Anthony, and these books, they're probably more spiritual than they are technical. But I've always said this, that science and spirituality are actually one thing and have been separated. So when you put them together, it becomes clear. Does that make sense? I don't know. Well, it does to me anyway. But so this is, oh God, because I'm reading different books, so I can't remember all the names. I'm trying to remember all the blooming names. Flint. So Flint is talking to this shaman, right? Uh, I'll give a little breakdown briefly. A little bit like Jung, yeah, a little bit. It is a little bit like Jung, but so the whole, I mean, there's like 5 books. There is 5 books. Yeah, so there's 5 books, and this guy could write. And what he's talking about is the fact that we're not our bodies. Our bodies are a connection to whatever world we are living in, on however you want to see it. And so it's very interesting. Oh, he also wrote, there's a trilogy called, now I actually came across them when they were 3 separate books, but the trilogy is called Of Man and Manta. Really fascinating books. Absolutely, really weird as well. So if you like weird, trust me, you can get them secondhand on eBay or wherever. You know, not a lot. Paperbacks. Get the old ones. It doesn't matter if they're worn, as long as you can read the text. Go read it. Seriously, really fascinating stuff. It's a bit, I don't know. I'm not really religious, but Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. I started to read these books and I went, for fuck's sake, man, we're talking to God all the time, all of us, and we don't even realize it. And when you do, there's like this, it's like a flowering of your spirit. There's this like blooming of the soul, if that makes sense. You know what I do? I'm really sorry, but I always do this. I start reading and then because it reminds me of, I read these when I was in my early 20s. And yeah, early 20s, definitely. So I would have been about 21, 22, which was 35, 36 years ago. But, and that's not the one with a double T. When you look at these things that come into our lives, they affect us profoundly, and they are the most beautiful things. And this story is about your spirit traveling. It is slightly more mechanized because we don't need the machinations, as it were. But he got it, Pierce Anthony. He really did get it. And I think the really freaky, fascinating books are of Man and Manta. They're really, really good books. And please go and read Asimov's Foundation series if you have time, because this is all happening. My rabbits are humping. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Hang on a minute. Right, will you stop humping him in the face? Stop that, you naughty little boy. Okay, this has got to be seriously funny. I hope it's funny. Please. That's the younger rabbit. He's a little bit horny. Oh dear. Where was I? Let's get back to the shaman and Flint, because I think we're all shaman and Flint, and when you read these kind of stories, you find that you are, in one sense, a shaman, and in another sense, a Flint. So you are a teacher and a learner, and this happens across the board through life. Yes. Here's the sign, but they're only babies, Genevieve. Seriously, they're just little ones. They're not adults yet. But I'll I'll, I'll tell you more about it another time, because when you go to, I always see, it doesn't matter how big the shop is or how much they say, oh, we really care about animals. Ultimately, they're just making money. The rabbit holes, yes, yes. Well, I mean, but they're definitely not brothers. So they're not from the same family, because one's got a really broad nose with a bridge, and the sexual. See, humor is essential. Hey, Genevieve. Mwah. Merci beaucoup, mon cher. They are really funny, but they're not funny early in the morning when they do marathons around their little house. Yeah. They, and you can't be angry with them, because they come. I can put my face right up against them. One of them is absolutely, I don't know what they did to these animals before they put them in the shop, because these animals go through a lot of trauma before you buy them, right? Which is horrendous. And they're so small, and they've not been with me that long. It's so as far as I'm concerned, their birthdays 10th of September, because they told me they were 3 months old, which I don't actually believe. So the 10th of every month, and I bought them on the 9th of December, and their first day was basically the 10th of December. So they have been with me just over a month, and I've actually built them a balcony in their house rabbits. I mean, they're like little pom-poms. They're like white bodies with, one looks like slightly like a rabbit I had as a child. It's like a ghost colouring of the rabbit I had as a child. The other one, which is like a German rabbit with a broad nose. So hang on, a French bulldog. French bulldog, with a broad nose. That's what that rabbit looks like. Pink ears, white body with the darker stripe on the bottom part of the back. And then the other one has got a very pointy little nose, like the Dutch rabbit. So I know, because I've had hamsters and fish and birds and terrapins and everything. You get cats, dogs, all that. So when you look at these facial features, you know that they're not actually brothers. They might have maybe the same father. They've definitely not got the same mother, right? Because they're their eating habits totally different. When I do anything, I do it wholeheartedly. So I want to know what I'm doing. I already know what I'm doing with them because I know what they need. And you wait till the spring. They're going to be getting all the natural wild flowers they can possibly want. Oh, they love herbs. Basil. Oh, they like basil. Broccoli flowers. Ooh. But one of them, which I think is the older one, really likes hard foods to nom, to chew. And the other one, which I think is younger, with a pointy face, likes all the soft things, the leaves, the fruit. And the other one, you just ignore any of that. You might have a little bit, but really not interested. Wants all the hard food. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they love it. No, they do. I mean, a lot of, and cats and dogs do as well. I mean, people don't realize this, what animals need in their life. And they sprayed weed killer all over the place. And these things are the things that they eat. So you're killing your pets when you do that. Am I right? I'm right. I know I'm right. I'm sorry. Right, shall we go back to Flint and his shaman? Otherwise, I'll get lost in my rabbit world. That is interactive television. Nature is interactive television because it doesn't lie. So it's not television, it is real vision. Yes? So where was Flint with the shaman? Hmm. So we know that he promised that he would always treat. I don't like the term. Yes. I don't like the term alien because I don't. Yes. I don't believe there are any aliens. Right? There might be interdimensionals, but I don't think there's aliens. Anyway, I love you, my darlings. No, really, Genevieve, I do love you. Oh. But Flint had promised himself to treat the next other being, I don't like the term alien, he met with special courtesy. He and the boy halted politely. Greetings, explorer, Flint said. The creature's body glowed with simulated pleasure. It put its stalk down to the ground. In this position, it looks more than ever. Yeah, babe, I know. It. Hang on, bless you. I'm trying to concentrate on you and the page. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. I love you. Right. So, the creature's body glowed with simulated pleasure. It put its stalk down to the ground. In this position, it looked more than ever like a dinosaur's dropping. Flint stifled a laugh. A little ball in the tip of the trunk spun rapidly. Greetings, native, the ground said. Flint was not surprised. He had been familiar with the mechanisms from infancy. The little ball vibrated against the ground or any available surface to produce intelligent sounds. As the Polarian had no mouth, it could not talk as humans did. I am Flint, Solarian male. What was obvious to a human was not necessarily evident to a Polarian, and vice versa. Protocol did not require such an introduction. He could have gone on after the first exchange. The runner boy was already fidgeting at this delay. But Flint has a resolution to fulfill. Appreciate an alien. Sopai, Polarian female. Peace. Topsy. Peace. Flint. Was this creature laughing back at him? What did the human form resemble to the alien perception? A bundle of vine splinters? Flint became intrigued. I go to dinosaur hunt. Would you like to accompany me? In one sense, this was protocol. Polarians like to be included in activities, but they were appropriately wary of dinosaurs. Well, I mean, come on. You know, actually, our atmosphere wouldn't support that size of animal on the ground these days. Our atmosphere has actually shrunk. So, and that's why we don't actually have any of the big trees anymore. So, we know there were big trees. See, this is where I go off on a tangent because it makes me think about other things don't, that are not just me. You know, people go, "You're always talking about yourself." Well, I'm actually not. I'm talking about our world and what we care not to take into consideration, and to consider that much has changed, and it will continue to change. And it's like when they go on about climate and all this blah blah, everything changes. Our spirit changes because everything is growing, you know, and I mean, it's just, I would like to, on one sense, I just want to go fly back to Great Source and F all the nonsense. But on another point, I want to be here for several millennia so that I can observe the weird changes that happen, right? I'm not afraid of vastness. You know, I can look at galaxies, it doesn't scare me. Set my soul free. Let me fly in a galaxy. I'll be quite happy. Oh, sorry, that was poetry, wasn't it? Anyway, there you go. I should probably write that down. Anyway, enough about me, more about Flint and his shaman. Was this creature laughing back at him? What did the human form resemble to the alien perception? A bundle of vine splinters? Flint became intrigued. I go to dinosaur hunt. Would you like to accompany me? That sounds like a caveman, doesn't it? It's really funny though. There's some really good writing in this. Plarians like to be included. Obviously, they don't like dinosaurs. Okay, we know that. I would be gratified, the teardrop said. Now he had done it. He had never suspected the creature would accept. Well, it couldn't be helped. It is an emergency. We shall be hurrying. I shall not impede you, the Polarian replied. Fat chance. But Flint smiled graciously while he was thinking that. He gestured to the boy. Show the way. The runner was off, sensing a race. This was firm. Level ground, excellent for making time. Flint followed, stretching his legs. But Soapy followed right along, rolling smoothly on her ball wheel. She was at no disadvantage. Polarians could move rapidly and effortlessly, when the terrain was right. Their wheel was efficient. Flint had not before appreciated how efficient. On occasion, he had wondered how the aliens kept themselves upright. The shaman had remarked that a man on a unicycle performed the same feat, but there was no unicycle on Outworld. Then they came to a ravine. One vine crossed. The boy leapt up even, caught a trailing sprout, and hauled himself topside. Flint started to follow, then paused. The Polarian could never make it. Not that leap. Permit me, Flint said, extending his linked hands. He had heard of this kind of corporation and was curious to see if it worked. The Polarian looped her trunk around the hands. It was warm. The body temperature was similar to man's. Flint braced himself and heaved up, hauling the entire weight of almost 200 pounds into the air. Then he swung, and the torso of the creature bumped against the underside of the vine. Instantly, the trunk disengaged from his hands and whipped about the vine. The bottom wheel spun against the bark, shoving the torso up, the entire body elongated momentarily. The aliens had no bones. In a moment, by a splendid feat of acrobatics, the Polarian stood upright atop the vine, ready to move on. And there we are. I might get through this chapter, but I don't think so. Flint hauled himself up, and they proceeded, running single file across the chasm. Purple mud bubbled far below. Trash was disposed of here. Sounds familiar? Ugh. I even see it here in the countryside. I mean, it's like, why would you chuck your trash onto the road? What beautiful countryside. People just chuck their rubbish out on the road. What is that? Yeah, yuck. Shame on them is all I can say. Purple mud bubbled far below. Trash was disposed of here, for what dropped into that mud was never reappeared. The vine trailed near the ground on the far side, so the Polarian needed no help. Actually, Flint realized she could have used a small ramp to hurl herself a few feet into the air at speed, high enough to catch the vine with her upraised tentacle. His assistant is it his assistants had merely facilitated things. A mile farther along, Flint heard the noises of an enraged dinosaur. Trouble? All right, he gasped, and tried to run, but faster. But he winded. Soapy rolled up beside him, effortlessly. The tentacles touched the ground. Permit me, she said. Then the trunk reached over, circled around Flint's waist, and tightened elastically. In a moment, he was lifted into the air, head forward. And good night, my friends, and thank you for listening.